Thank you, Maura, and good morning and greetings from Uasin Gishu County.
Great, we receive those greetings. Help us to understand this constitutional amendment bill and how it will affect the number of women in parliament and the county assemblies as well.
Okay, first, the objective of the bill is to increase the number of women in parliament in order and to achieve the 2/3 gender rule. And this we will do by ensuring that it's not done through top-up by nominations after the election, but instead to be through elections, because we believe it's better for women to be tested by the electorate. They will better showcase their abilities, and therefore we will be able to have a better chance in the future after the watershed period for more women to be able to be elected into parliament.
Okay, let me try and understand this better. Right now...
it also has...
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I said we also do, you know what happens now with the MCAs. After the elections, what the parties do is they nominate women to fill up to be able to achieve at least 1/3 of women in the in the county assembly. And I'll use the example of Uasin Gishu County. In Uasin Gishu County, we have 30 wards. Out of the 30, we were only able to elect 1 woman. So what happened is that there were nominations in order to bring the number to the constitutional requirement. So the 12 women were nominated, or rather 10 women plus another 2, someone representing the youth and someone with disabilities, were nominated. So the danger with that, of nominations, is that we've had a history in the past where it is prone to abuse. And also, sometimes you don't have deserving women. I know there are many deserving nominated women, but there has been cases also where we haven't had deserving women being nominated there. But also, if the intention of the affirmative action article in our Constitution intends to have a period within which we undertake affirmative action to bring women and achieve equality, then the best way to do that is ensuring that those women go to an actual election.
Okay, Honorable
Shollei. And it will also give, because I, yes.
Sorry for interrupting you. So for you to make this possible, you are proposing that, for example, you make it, and I don't want to say easier for women to be able to vie in certain areas, but you've given some interesting proposals. For example, you're saying in certain counties, constituencies could be merged, maybe 2 constituencies are merged, and that becomes a constituency exclusive for women, and a similar arrangement at the MCA level as well. How do you envision this working out?
Yeah. Okay. The constituencies will remain at 290, which will be open for any gender to vie. We will then create constituency blocks by pairing 2 constituencies in counties where they have even numbers, and then if they have an odd number, they will pair the last 3 using the population and geographical proximity to it. So what will happen, and again I'll use the example of Uasin Gishu County. We have 6 constituencies in Uasin Gishu County. 6 people will be able to vie, both male and female, for the 6 constituencies. But we will pair 2 of the constituencies and reserve them only for women to vie. And in that case, what will happen is we'll eventually have 9 members of parliament, but at least 3 will be women.
Okay.
We'll be guaranteed that we will be able to meet that threshold.
And in terms of the wage bill then, because that's something that Kenyans are really concerned about at this moment, how will this then play out when Kenyans are saying do not bring any proposal that will increase the wage bill?
Okay, thanks, Maura, for that. First of all, let me make it clear that the wage bill is not a factor at all, because think about it. Parliament only consumes 1.4 to 1.5% of the total budget. The executive consumes 84%. The counties consume 12%. So therefore, it is not a huge added cost. And with the new changes, it will only go higher by maybe 0.2% at most. In any case, not exceeding 2%. And the question I'm asking is, the requirement to have more women in parliament is a constitutional requirement. The time that we voted for this new constitution, it created new structures in devolved units, county assemblies, speakers, more MCAs, a county government, a deputy county. I mean, they're spending money to build county offices and so on. It is the cost of the constitution. Why is it that when it comes to another constitutional requirement that requires more women in parliament, the cost becomes a factor?
Okay.
Actually,
yes. Sorry for interrupting you on this.
And I think let's not forget that part of the proposal is also to ensure that for the position of Senate, we will have a joint ticket where a party will nominate one male, one female to run. So we'll have 2 senators from every county, and one will be male, one will be female. At the end of the day, we'll achieve an almost 50-50 at the Senate. Think about it today. The women who are nominated into Senate, because they can only have 1 leader of delegation per county, then it means the women have no voting power, which does not help us achieve equalization at all, because we are not able to weigh in on the gender issues on any decisions that are made in Senate.
Fair enough, Honorable Shollei, and you raise interesting points. I think no one disagrees with you. Your proposal, in a sense, would help to sort the 2/3 gender riddle, and you know, in a sense, there's a lot of positives in regards to that. But many Kenyans are asking, yes, you want to sort the 2/3 gender riddle. Unfortunately, it will cost us more. But in terms of provision of service to the ordinary Kenyan watching this broadcast from across the country, how is your proposal going to help them? And I think that is one of the key issues many Kenyans have at the moment.
I think we know that the reasons why we've had challenges of gender inequality in this country is because we haven't had enough voices of women. Remember, if you are in a room making a decision, there will be things that I have a better understanding because I'm a woman, and therefore, if we are saying that you're running the country and half of its population is not represented at the table, that is where the inequalities come in.
Okay. And
if you remember very clearly,
go ahead.
Maura, if you may give me a minute.
Go ahead.
The time when we had the problem, when the sanitary towels were rated at 16% VAT, it was because the decision makers in that committee who decide what rate of VAT is charged on an item were all men. Had there been a woman in that committee, they would have been able to say, no, this is not a luxury item. It's not part of lipstick and perfumes. It is a necessity. So it tells you our own history from the problems we've had and the challenges that the women have suffered is because of lack of their voices in that decision-making process. In Senate now, can you imagine that we have nominated women who don't have voting power, which means they cannot weigh in on the views of women. And that's why we remain marginalized.
Okay. Obviously, this will need a lot of sort of support, especially within Parliament, the Senate, etc. How would you say that the measures Kenya has put so far in terms of achieving, in a sense, affirmative action have, you know, sort of been rated? And let me give you examples. For example, you've been a woman rep now for the last almost shy of a year. In that particular position, which might be phased out should your proposal go through, how would you say you fared? How would you say your counterparts have fared in all that? Because there are some Kenyans who say, you know what, we are still not sure about the impact or value of woman reps as currently constituted.
I think what has happened is having additional women in Parliament has definitely been able, they have been able to weigh in on the gender issues within Parliament. By the time actually government has gotten to the point where there is many programs that take care of people with children with disabilities, that we are paying more focus on youth, that we have the government even getting to a situation where they have agreed that they should give out free sanitary towels in all public schools. It's because there were women in Parliament, more numbers now, and they were able to weigh in on that. The fact that we have an entire ministry for gender and youth tells you that the government has taken it seriously. And remember, the first set of women representatives were on their first term. And therefore, I think it will continue improving, and I can see a great improvement at the moment with the women that we have in Parliament. They are able to lobby together. We have a caucus. We are engaging all the time with the Ministry of Gender and Youth. And even now lobbying for more resources to be given to affirmative action programs. I mean, recently we had a very tough battle in Parliament where we were simply requesting for an additional 1.5 million shillings per constituency, because right now a woman representative only has 6 million per constituency. The CDF has 100 million shillings for one constituency. It tells you it's very difficult that affirmative action programs are not being given enough attention. And I saw the way the women in Parliament, led by our two chairpersons for our caucus heads, lobby hard enough. Eventually we got an additional 2 million shillings. But even that is progress. If they can do that every single year, then by that time, affirmative action programs can be voted for more resources.
A long way.
They're also, they're also trying to get the Biashara fund to be put under the women representatives.
Okay, sorry for interrupting you. I need to get in one last question. There are those who would question the fact that you've been on this seat for, let's say, shy of a year, and yet your proposal could effectively abolish the post. What sort of message does then that send? Because some are confused. This is a woman rep actually bringing a proposal that could effectively in 2022 abolish her seat.
Okay, remember at the moment Uasin Gishu County has only one woman representative. My proposal is going to have 3 women. That is not really abolishing. We are increasing. We are just abolishing the traditional name of that seat and creating 3 more seats. So at the end of the day, we are increasing more women. And I want you to check this against the Duale bill. The Duale bill proposes to say that we go to elections, after that we nominate to top up. So they will nominate 100 women who have not been tested by the electorate. I'm proposing that we have women who are tested by the electorate and go into elections. So yes, it is scrapping the current traditional women rep seat, but it's creating 3 other seats. So that is a plus. We are going to increase the number of women, not by 47, but by at least 100. So yes, this is, I think, is a positive step. I am confident that by the time my colleagues and other people who have been working very hard over the years in the women's movement will be able to support it. And remember, the Duale bill and my bill achieve the same same objective, except that the methodology is different. I'm sure at some point we may come to an agreement because it's still under discussions. I've received a lot of presentations from women saying make the following changes, and I'm happy to do that because this is still at discussion stage and at debate stage.
Finally, in your view, what sort of timelines are you hoping for in terms of the transition from this being a bill to actual law?
No, I mean, it's going to take a bit of a while, and that's why I tabled this in November last year. It's the first thing I did when I got into Parliament, because I knew to work its way to the top, it could even take another 4 years or 5 years. But that's why I knew, understanding the legislative process, that I must start it early enough to be able to move it. So as I think sometimes the press said that I put it in the other day, but it was in November last year. And it's because I've been working with a group of people who have been part of this movement even before I came into politics. So yes, this is something myself and several other people have been thinking about from the time we had the new constitution. Okay, thank you so much, Honorable Gladys Shollei, Woman Rep Uasin Gishu, for taking time to share with us your intention with this particular constitutional amendment bill. We await to see what will happen moving forward. Still some concerns, Mheshimiwa, I must say, about the cost, and I know that's something Kenyans are very sensitive about at the moment, but you know, in terms of fixing the gender riddle, I know that's something that hopefully would be taken care of in the kind of proposal that you have. Thank you once again, Mheshimiwa, live for us from Eldoret, Uasin Gishu County.